was really fun. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Sticks and Tricks. I'm JJ Young. This might be a familiar name to some of you because I'm borrowing my friend Ethan Makowick's idea of Licks and Tricks, where it's kind of a guitar-centric thing, but this is going to focus on a different instrument. This is the drums, the tubs, the boom booms, whatever you want to call it. This is our first episode of however many episodes we do. And my first guest today is a fantastic young drummer named Jake Kelley. Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing good, JJ. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's great to properly meet you. We've interacted on lots of social medias about mainly drums a lot.
That's true.
Yes. Jake, what bands do you play in currently?
I play back home near Scranton in a band called Greater Revival, and I also play out in Pittsburgh in a group called Giovanni and the Orsini and the Inebriators.
There it is. Okay. We're outing Jeb. He's starting a band. If you haven't heard, he's got a band that doesn't have me in it. Whoa. And he couldn't have chosen a better guy to, take up the mantle of drum man in Jeb's band, a.k.a. another Bonham guy. With that in mind, let's seamlessly transition into the elephant in the room. We're both big Zeppelin guys, aren't we?
That's very true.
Jake, when did you first, when was your aha moment that, John Bonham was, the shit?
So my dad really isn't into music a lot, but he thinks he knows when music's good, he'll tell me, and he kept telling me when I was younger. I was a big Kiss guy. He's like you need to get into Led Zeppelin. You love Led Zeppelin,
right?
And then he turned on Moby Dick.
Oh shit!
And that was my first introduction to Bonham. Of course, I've heard Stairway to Heaven, Immigrant Song, but when I heard Moby Dick, that absolutely blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I similarly had my parents, not to put them down, but they're not intensely music people, I think a lot of people that I'm friends with that are musicians, they're like, yo, yeah, my dad plays guitar or whatever. That wasn't quite me, but I had two uncles that really turned me on to that kind of stuff. And I heard Dazed and Confused and the fill where he kind of crosses over at the end of that returns into the you know what I'm talking about. It's it's I did it wrong because you're supposed to lead with your left hand, but it's fine. I'm still working on it. With that in mind, I'm not less talking about me. What was the first Zeppelin thing, Bonham lick, that you mastered where you were just oh, hell yeah?
Probably the triplets on the kick drum.
Yeah.
That for me, I heard that on obviously Good Times, Bad Times.
Yeah.
That to me was I really wanted to get that down.
Can you demonstrate that for the people and kind of give us a demo of what you're talking about?
So basically, it's when the kick drum just hits really quick. So in a groove, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I think the general the wow factor with Bonham, besides everything, is how is that guy doing all that work with one foot? You know what I mean? And so, as a drummer, I kind of would like to think that the biggest flex can be I do as much work with one foot as others have to do with two. You know what I mean?
There's people that claim he used a double bass pedal, but in the late '60s, people really didn't even use double bass pedals, man.
That exactly, and I'm not outing or shitting on double bass players. That's sick. But Bonham didn't need it, baby.
No, he didn't.
So, transitioning from that, I'm sure you and I could talk about John Bonham and Led Zeppelin for probably 7 hours.
Yeah, we probably could.
And dissect the entire discography and whatever of his work. But I have some more questions for you because this is a show about you and local drummers and that kind of thing. So practicing is a big part of drumming and whatnot. It's, and I think that's what turns a lot of people off from drumming because maybe compared to there's the least immediate results generally, right?
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, when you decided that you wanted to start playing drums, what made you stick with it and grind through the really hard times of, practicing and sucking for a really long time?
I tried I tried guitar for a while. It wasn't for me, but like ever since I was little, like I said, I was really into Kiss. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be in a big rock band, and guitar really wasn't working. I had a drum set that I just messed around with for a couple of years, and I guess I just stuck with that. It made sense to me. I thought it'd be just pretty cool to play the drums. Just hearing a bunch of cool stuff, I thought that's why I stuck with it.
Sure, that makes sense. Now, what age did you start playing drums, would you say?
I've had drum sets around the house, like the little near dollar store brand one, since I was about 3. But
Sure.
I honestly started playing drums when I was about 9 or 10.
Did you do like concert band at school or anything like that?
See, I really tried to do concert band. I stuck with it as much as I could through like 5th and 6th grade.
Sure.
And the music teacher was like, I struggled with reading music immensely.
Me too.
And he was very helpful, but I just couldn't stick with it. That's why when I ended up taking drum lessons, that only lasted about a summer.
Mm-hmm. So you've only had like a summer of drum lessons?
Yeah, but I resorted to YouTube. That's what I did.
The greatest drum teacher in the
Yes,
world.
that's very true.
In my professional career at my job, most of what I've learned wasn't at college. It's on YouTube, so I can attest to that. That's really impressive that you've had, only that little of formal teaching, because that's, you're very accomplished, and, for being, how old are you, 20?
I'm 20.
Yeah, so you're 4 years younger than me, and I don't think I was shredding the way you were at 20, so you're very much, killing it in that way.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. So with that, you're self-taught, right? And so what kind of things would you, look up? Were you playing along with songs? Were you like watching tutorial dudes, like, here's how to like double your foot for triplets, or what?
It was mainly songs, because around the time I really got into drums, I started getting into AC/DC, and like that's some of the easy stuff you can play. However,
all
like,
the beats are like,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Phil Rudd's got some groove. Like
Absolutely.
He's known as like the human metronome. Some people refer to him as. He's got some groove, but like it's good stuff to start out with. It really is.
Sure. Yeah, I can relate to that, because I was a Ringo guy when I first started, and there's some cool drum shit in the Beatles, but I think a lot of it is Paul playing drums.
Yeah.
Love Ringo, but he holds it down. But yeah, it's pretty rudimentary, and then Bonham happened, and it kind of changed everything.
Yeah.
So that's cool. One thing I wanted to ask you to pivot from that is, you've been honing your craft now for probably 10 years or so.
Yeah.
When did you first start playing in bands and stuff?
Well, it's kind of funny, because as we're talking, it's kind of going to era like Kiss, then AC/DC, then Led Zeppelin. Like I had a Green Day phase in junior high. I think everybody had a Green Day phase.
Yeah, who didn't? Yeah.
And so I started playing with a buddy named Mike, and he played guitar, I played drums. We probably played every single Green Day song.
Sure.
And so that's kind of how I practiced playing with another musician. And then I think when I hit high school, I started playing with like a cover band, a couple older guys, and we just did covers. We played at bars, like outdoor events, stuff like that.
Word.
And so that's kind of when I started playing with groups.
That's awesome. So you've been honing your craft for a certain amount of time, playing with other people, and what I've noticed throughout that, that progression is where you might wear your influences on your sleeve very early on. You kind of start evolving into your own thing just by a natural progression of what's happening, and there's only so many Zeppelin records that you can play through. So the question I have for you is, what would you consider the key to your sound at this point?
I just like having the groove down.
Sure.
I love having the groove. However, I like adding little funky elements into things.
Can you show me an example, one of your favorite grooves, whether it be one of your bands or something, and play something that's one of your favorite things?
So it's we could just have groove
Yeah,
like that.
Sprinkling in the I think my friend Brandon calls it a dick in the butt because it's like
dude, those are fun.
Dick in the butts are really good, but like those kind of things I totally agree with because there's just like anybody can just like hold down a beat, right? But like when you add a certain personality and flavor to it, where you're still in the pocket, right?
Yep.
Because you don't want to be the busiest person in the world. But you know, and especially on drums, if you're the busiest, then you're kind of defeating your purpose because you're just.
I think like Keith Moon was the only one who made that work.
Exactly, but he's dead now. So. Rest in peace. But yeah, no, I agree with you because I don't. Would you say that there's one beat from Keith Moon that pops up in your head that's played consistently every time?
Yeah, no, except
exactly.
like My Generation with like when he's doing the little kick drum thing. But besides that, no.
Exactly. Another question I want to ask you. You know, we're talking a lot about your evolution as a drummer and like coming up and whatever. What would you say? You know, you had an epiphany when you heard Bonham, like just like a lot of people did. But what's your greatest drumming discovery? Like something that you're like I gather that like I'm playing and I'll fuck up, but it'll actually be like, whoa, that's awesome. Like what's your greatest drumming discovery that you've had?
Honestly, I don't know if it's a discovery, but it's kind of deciphering whether a groove should be on the ride or the hi-hat.
Sure.
Because that can really make or break a song.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about things that we see and it kind of just like blows our mind,
Mm-hmm.
my roommate this year actually showed me, he got me into Wolfpack and then Nate Smith, and that was an epiphany. I'm like, I want to learn how to groove like that. Like it's insane how in the pocket he is.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. So the epiphany isn't as much like a lick or like something that you can just like bust out, but like it's more of like a mentality, so to speak.
I'd say so, yeah.
Sure. Okay, I got 2 more questions for you. One of them I'm going to steal from Ethan, but I'm not going to use it as my concluding question because this is Ethan's idea that I'm living in. Anyways, when you go home after work, after school, after whatever, and you obviously you're in college, so you don't have like a drum kit at your disposal. But say you did, right? Or you're just like hitting the practice pad or whatever, right? What is something that you go to practice all the time? That you just like your mind can go and you're just like whether it's a tempo or a lick or a groove or whatever. What's something that you practice with all the time?
Honestly, unless I have to like actually sit down and buckle down to learn stuff. I love Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff. It's mind settling. It's funky. It just flows.
You want to play me a sick Chad Smith groove real fast?
I'd love to.
Hit it. I love that like soloed out little splash because the battle that I'm still fighting personally is like my right foot wants to go along with my left foot when I, like that. So can you like take me through the mechanics of how you're like, getting that to just like hang on its own?
So
break it down for me, Jake.
So it's like you're just like kind of grooving like a 4 on the floor.
Sure.
And then it's just like a little. Yeah, so.
Sure.
And then you
shit.
I add like instead of going I add it.
Yeah.
Right at the end there.
So it goes like this, right? Tell me if I'm doing it right. It's
okay.
Something like that.
It's something just like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. So you're a Chad Smith guy.
I really like his I like his style a lot.
Yeah, me too. That guy, he kind of falls in the Bonham culture of like that dude hits hard.
Yep.
Would you consider yourself like a hard hitter?
I definitely tend to smack, especially if the set's going well and I'm getting excited and people are kind of digging it. The only thing where it's not good to do that is like in bars because they get way too loud and they get kind of pissed about that.
All right, I want to bring this home. I got one more question for you, and it's a simple question, and this is an opportunity for you to kind of like show what you got. What's the sickest thing that comes to mind that you can play? Whether it's subtly sick or it's just like bombastic and ridiculous, what's the craziest thing that you can bust out? And I
Honest-
want to learn it.
You probably already know this, man. But like, honestly, I like doing really fast singles. Like
Okay.
anywhere around the kit.
Hell yeah.
So like, I've got to move this away.
All right, word. Yes. Let's do it. Let's do them together. I'll count us in, and then I'm gonna play us out. Before we do aggressive singles all over our kits, this has been Sticks and Tricks with the wonderful Kelley, Greater Revival, the Inebriators, Giovanni Orsini and the Inebriators, Steel City Death Club. I just want to shout out the Steel City Death Club merch store. As you can see, the threads, go get them, steelcitydeathclub.com/store. But this has been Sticks and Tricks. I'm JJ Young.
I'm Jacob Kelley. Thank you for having me, JJ.
Absolutely, man. Let's just do some fucking singles, man. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you, Jake. That was really fun. It was my pleasure.